Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics. So, Reform UK MP Sarah Pochin was complaining with another white person on television. There aren't any white people on television. Before long, she was having to apologise for her remarks, which were both untrue and incredibly racist. But this isn't a case of an extremist in Reform UK shooting their mouth off and having to walk back because they went a bit too far. Both the original statement and the fake apology were planned in advance. It's part of a deliberate, secret, premeditated strategy which we're seeing work time and again. And I want to go over how the secret works. And with this secret, I want you to share it with everyone. But first, for daily news and politics, please click the subscribe button to stay notified.
Reform UK do about it, if anything?
I think Stuart's absolutely right. Drives me mad when I see adverts full of black people, full of Asian people, full of, people that basically are anything.
What's wrong with that, Sarah?
White.
What's wrong with that?
Well, it doesn't reflect our society, and I feel that your average white person, average white family is like I agree with you, Stuart, not represented.
So nothing to see here, just two white folk moaning that there's no white folk on the telly. Now, this might sound like a simple off-the-cuff remark that a politician now regrets, and the apology that followed, it probably seems like a standard attempt at damage control, doesn't it? But it's not. What you just heard wasn't a slip of the tongue. It was a calculated message. Every line was worked out in advance. And the apology wasn't an apology. That was a move from a well-worn playbook. Sarah Pochin just showed us exactly how Reform UK is going to handle every scandal that they create and every controversy that they create from here on out, because they've been doing it for so long. This wasn't about saying sorry. It was a strategic test of a political machine. Let us look at the 5 hidden secrets in this statement that expose Reform UK's entire strategy for managing public outrage whilst pushing their agenda once you see it. And stick with me, because once you see it, you will notice it everywhere. So first, the non-apology apology. The "I'm sorry you feel that way" that became famous with Priti Patel. Again, it's been used by others before. This is not new. After the firestorm over her comments, Sarah Pochin issued a statement. So if you look at the exact words, what she said was, her comments were phrased poorly, and she apologised for any offence caused, which was not my intention. That is straight out of the Political Crisis Management Handbook. Notice what she's not apologising for. She isn't saying, "I was wrong to think that," or "my view on representation was mistaken." No. She's sorry for the phrasing and for the offence people took. It's a classic rhetorical trick that subtly shifts the blame. The problem wasn't her opinion. The apology is implying the problem was the clumsy words she chose. And actually, maybe your sensitivity for being offended. It's the political version of saying, "I'm sorry you feel that way." Then, in the very next breath, she doubles down, stating, "The point I was trying to make is that the British advertising agency world have gone DE mad, and many adverts are now unrepresentative of British society as a whole." And there it is. She takes the apology back almost immediately. She regrets the wording, but not the feeling behind it. This move does two things at once. It gives the media a headline that says Pochin apologises, creating the illusion of regret for anyone casually watching, but it also reassures her base that she hasn't actually backed down. It's a strategic retreat disguised as a surrender, designed to quiet the criticism without alienating core support. This leads directly to the second secret behind this: weaponizing the reframe. A key part of this playbook is to never fight a battle on your opponent's turf. If you're attacked on one issue, you immediately change the conversation to one of your preferred topics. Something I keep saying Labour need to do, and they're not doing, right? Pochin's original comments were about race. As Labour Party chair Anna Turley pointed out, she was counting the numbers of people with different skin colour to her on TV adverts. That is a dangerous place for any politician to be. And of course, the accusations of racism were swift. So what did she do? She reframed the scandal. This wasn't about race anymore. She insisted it was about DEI, diversity, equity and inclusion, which I'll keep reminding people isn't a thing in the UK. This is Reform UK directly importing grievances from America because they can't even be asked to adapt Trump's playbook. They're just copying it word for word. In her statement, she pivots hard, claiming the real issue is that the British advertising agency world have gone DEI mad. Can't even say it because we don't use the term in this country. It's not a thing. Anyway, it's a cynical but effective move. By dropping the acronym DEI, she turns a conversation about race into a front in the culture war. For many on the right, DEI is a trigger word, a symbol of corporate overreach and woke ideology. Woke itself became a trigger word for something else completely different. It's a concept that Reform UK's base already distrust, right? And just like that, she changes the subject. The debate is no longer, are Sarah Pochin's views on diversity in ads problematic? It becomes, have DEI initiatives in Britain gone too far? She's no longer on defence, answering for her words. Instead, she's on the attack, leading a charge against a familiar enemy. This is like years ago when people would go, oh, political correction's gone too far. It's exactly the same, just different words. Textbook example of turning a crisis into an opportunity. Do you see how all this is pre-planned yet? But we're not done. Secret number 3 is all about speaking in code to rally the base. A public apology might seem like it's for everyone. No, the audience is the politician's own supporters. She doesn't care about the others. I'm not going to vote for her, right? She doesn't care about me. The goal is to show the supporters that despite what it looks like, you're still one of them. Pochin does this perfectly, again revealing that this was all carefully worked out with Farage in advance. Remember, the thing that works here is her apology. That's what's helped. The original statement just set it up. None of this helps Reform UK without the fake apology. It's all been worked out in advance. In her original remarks, she didn't just state her opinion, she blamed it on the woke liberati, the arty-farty world. She also drew a line in the sand geographically, right? Saying the ads, oh, you might be fine inside the M25, but it's definitely not representative of the rest of the country. These aren't random phrases. They've been used for years. They've been bedded in for years. Woke liberati, arty-farty world, inside the M25. They're codes. They paint a picture of a liberal city-dwelling elite that's totally disconnected from the lives of ordinary people. That is the core story of Reform UK. That an out-of-touch establishment has betrayed the country and only they represent the real Britain. When Pochin uses these phrases, she's activating a shared sense of grievance that's been set up for years. And again, that highlights the fact that this is not her doing it on her own, because she's using the phrase that others before her have bedded into the public consciousness for years. She's saying, you and I get it, we're the real Britain. They, the woke elites in London, are the problem. Even her validation of the caller who started it all was a signal that she was a champion for people who feel their culture's being ignored. So while headlines focus on her apology, her coded language sends out a very different message to her supporters. Don't worry, I haven't gone soft, I'm still fighting for us. Then on to secret number 4, which is about the party's broader strategy, manufacturing outrage for attention. For a party like Reform UK, which defines itself as the alternative, any news cycle is a good news cycle as long as they're at the centre of it. Think about it. Before this, how many people were really talking about Sarah Pochin? And the last time they were talking about Sarah Pochin was the last time she shit the bed and then came out with a fake apology. Now her name will be in headlines for a week. The comment, the backlash, the apology dominates the news. As they say, it's not a bug, it's a feature. Populist movements need the oxygen of publicity to survive. If the media had never bothered with Nigel Farage when he was a bit player, he would still be a bit player. You know, they've got to stay in the news to stay relevant, and that means making provocative statements that force everyone else to react. Labour's Anna Turley had little choice but to condemn the remarks and call on Nigel Farage to do the same. That instantly elevates the story, drawing more attention to Reform UK. Notably, Farage himself stays silent at the time. He lets the controversy build and makes his opponents look like they were shouting into the void. This kind of controversy acts as a huge recruiting tool. People who already feel frustrated, who thought woke culture had gone too far, heard Pochin's comments and thought, finally, someone's saying what I'm thinking. Reform UK knows that outrage from its opponents just strengthens the loyalty of its supporters. It creates an us versus them dynamic, which is the lifeblood of any insurgent political movement. Every condemnation is seen by their base as proof that their establishment is scared of them. How many times do you see it on left and right? Oh, I must be doing something right because those people are attacking me, right? It works on the same level. Pochin hasn't been beaten here by being forced to apologise. Before she ever made the offending statement, she knew she was going to be making her strategic fake apology, specifically to recruit more people to Reform UK. We're being played. And that brings us to the fifth and final secret, the strategic retreat and pivot to the real target. This is the endgame. The apology, the reframe, the coded language, it all leads here. The apology isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of the real strategic play, planned from the very beginning. After using the non-apology to calm things down and reframing the debate around DEI, Reform UK now perfectly positioned to launch a wider campaign. The conversation is no longer about one person's comments. It's now a national debate about DEI, culture and national identity, the very heart of Reform UK's platform. Do you see how the pattern works? First, a provocative statement creates a media storm. Second, and all of this is planned out in advance. They know they're going to do each step in turn. Second, a carefully worded apology quiets things down while winking at the base. Third, the story is reframed away from the individual and towards a cultural problem. Fourth, the party uses all that new attention to pivot and campaign on its core issues. That lets them set the political agenda. They're not just reacting to events, they're creating events. The initial scandal is the spark that they planned from the beginning. The real goal is the fire that follows, which they can use to light up their own political project. They are political arsonists, and we are being played every single time. They take a moment of weakness, turn it into a show of strength, use the backlash to prove their point that they are the ones brave enough to speak uncomfortable truths. Sarah Pochin wasn't shooting her mouth off, then hastily apologising because she met with a backlash. She was just the player chosen by the coach to make a play for her team. Pochin is chosen because making an apology, even a fake one, is easier for her than for Farage. Farage is on the side. He's the coach on this. He's the one who's told her to do it, right? But he keeps out of it. He's in the shadows on this. She's Reform's racist rodeo clown. But it was all worked out in detail before she ever appeared in the interview to trigger this grotesque spectacle. It was all planned in advance. And when you've seen exactly the same play over and over again, year after year after year, you start to see the strategy. And once you know how it works, you will see it all the time. The best way to defend against it, point it out to others, and maybe more people will see it for what it is as well. But let me know what you think in the comments below. And for more content, you could subscribe to the channel or even join for access to streams and behind the scenes updates. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.